I would share something with you that may seem obvious at first, but perhaps what's obvious isn't clear. You cannot learn from any moment in life and resist it at the same time. It's impossible. And we have within us a natural mechanism that's part of our interior life, part of creation itself, that resists impressions, that resists anything that touches us, whether it's a troublesome time in our life or a thought. And when we meet life from a mindset whose first impulse is to push away what the given moment would reveal to us about ourselves, and what else are moments for other than to reveal ourselves to ourselves, that in such moments we separate ourselves from the possibility of a complete new understanding and transformation that's possible in those moments. Let me give you a quick story and then an explanation that will help you understand better what I'm saying to you. An anthropologist went to a distant country where he was studying natives and their customs, the shamanic realities, the way in which they held their tribes together and communicated with life in general to see to their well-being. And one particular tribe, part of the way in which they not only got along with each other, they were noted for their peaceable natures, was that they collected these herbs and other ingredients and stirred them and stirred them and stirred them, and he'd watch them gather the ingredients and even go through the process, and himself taking in some of this material and feeling the well-being and broader communion that it provided. So he himself decided to try this, and he collected the same ingredients. Keep in mind, this is a spiritual story. It's a metaphor. For instance, he collected the knowledge, spiritually speaking, that we do. He had tried to apply beliefs and ideals. He stirred and stirred and stirred, and when he drank it, it was bitter. And not only was it bitter, but it made him sick, and it upset him, set him against the other people. And he went to the head shaman and said, "Well, what's the problem here?" He said, "I've watched you, and as you stir it, the more you stir it, the sweeter it becomes." He said, "I stirred it exactly the same number of times you did, and mine comes out bitter." And the shaman said, "Show me what you did." And the anthropologist went through the drill and stirred it just as he had done. And the shaman looked at him and he said, "Well, I know the problem now." And the man said, "What's the problem?" He said, "Well, you see, you're stirring your mixture counterclockwise, and you must stir it clockwise to achieve the results." Now, here's the meaning of the story. When moments come along, even when we're just sitting by ourselves and a certain state will wash over us, we must learn to welcome the moment. We must be for what we are being given to see about ourselves, instead of our habitual reaction, which is to be against it, to resist it. It is impossible to resist and learn at the same time. Resistance is separation. Separation is gradual disintegration. Learning to receive the moment, regardless of its nature. There is no such thing as bad self-knowledge. No such thing. So it doesn't matter what you see about yourself. It doesn't matter what any particular moment brings and reveals to you about yourself. The key is to be for it, to accept it, to receive it, and in this instance, to understand this idea of what it means to be able to think toward whatever it is that has been revealed, instead of thinking from the part of yourself that resists the same moment. Because when we take something that's unwanted, something we don't want to see about ourselves, some pain, some situation that challenges us, and we react to it with resistance, in that same moment, the part of us that has resisted the moment is doing the thinking toward it. Which means fear, worry, and anxiety is doing the analysis. But it's doing it based on a comparative basis, which drives conflict, which sets into further cement the idea that this situation or circumstance is something we don't want. Let there be no moment that you don't want. It doesn't mean you will embrace it with love. It means you will open yourself to the possibility of discovering the moment was sent to you by something that loves you for the purpose of bringing about your freedom.